I don't think this is going to happen. So I told my children, Sasha, Akil, and Khalik, I said, I'm going to get a bike.
Okay.
And I'm going to ride to work.
Okay.
Well, for people who know me, I am a little bit, I like to look cute. I don't like to sweat. And I ain't playing sports. So they were like, yeah, okay, Ma, sure. Right. And I did. I purchased the last bike, and the gentleman saved it because he says, you're on the front lines.
Right.
So you come and get this bike. Brand new.
Okay.
And I rode 14 miles 3 to 4 times a week for a whole year.
Oh, yeah.
And towards the end, and I did it whether it's 28 degrees, if it was a little bit of snow, but not a lot.
Right.
In the rain, it didn't matter if it's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And in New York, there's something called the 59th Street Bridge, and you guys have watched the runners on Sunday go across
the marathon.
I rode from LaGuardia Airport, because that's where I live, across that bridge all the way to the east side, and then work my shift, and I would ride back.
Wow.
And I did this for a year, but towards the end, I had so much pain.
Okay.
And I thought I was like, they told me, you need to stand up when you hit the potholes. I was like, well, then I'll be riding standing up. It's New York.
Right.
Then they thought that I had a shortened piriformis muscle, which is in your buttocks. And so I was on the lacrosse ball, rolling it. They were massaging it out. And the only time I had relief was when I was riding my bike. So I went and I ended up getting kidney stones. And it's not hereditary. And my girlfriend, who's a doctor, Dr. Van Elden, said, no, you're going to go to the gynecologist.
Okay.
Because I said, I have fibroids. My stomach's flat. I had 3 kids. I got vein, right? And she says, no, I want you to go to the gynecologist first.
Right.
Rolling my eyes, I went. And by this time, my pain was 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could barely sit.
Yeah.
But I still went to work. I still rode my bike. They were like, I don't understand how you're riding a bike. I don't even know how you're standing. What are you doing? And I was like, they said, so what, you're on narcotics? I said, no, I just take some Tylenol. Because I don't like taking meds. And then I was tested. And I got Columbia Presbyterian. I like to shout out my hospital on 168th Street. Dr. Gockley, she and Dr. Chen, they walked me through the whole process.
Wow.
And my family. And they never left my side.
Wow.
That's love.
That's amazing. Because now I'm understanding where this boss over confidence comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, when you look at that whole situation, it was like God said, hey, you want to write about something? I give you something to write about.
You're going to have a testimony.
You're gonna write about victory and what it is to overcome. And just feeling everything now that you have within you is great. I mean, what better person to teach people confidence? You understand? Man, it's just amazing how God works. That's all I got to say, man.
He's so awesome. And, when you think about, it's so important, the people that are in your life, community is so important. And family doesn't always mean blood. Right? I'm just fortunate that Sasha, Akil, and Khalik, and I mention their names in my books, in the back of my books, and when I'm on magazines, when I'm on shows. They're my adult children, because everyone's children don't talk to them. They're not in their life. They're not their supporters. They were they are my biggest supporters. Riding that bike. Now, they talked about me behind my back because they told me later, she'll last a week. They were taking bets. I know. But that's okay. But they never told me I couldn't do it. When I said, you know what, I'm going out and doing this speaking and I'm going to write more, they never told me I couldn't. My son, Akil, sat me down and made me just start watching all of these speakers. And I ended up binging it for like 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
But where it really started was with my grandmother when I was 5 years old, literally. And she's involved in the community. She was an activist in East Elmhurst, Queens. So they were building this daycare center. And the teenagers were supposed to go in front of the city council in Queens. It's a big thing. And share how they feel about it.
Wow.
Well, they all chickened out when they got down there, and they brought us down on a bus. And so my grandmother looked at me and she says, "Will you speak?" Well, my grandma could ask me to do anything. That was my heart. She is my rock.
Right.
And I'm 5. Yes. So they had you remember they have crates. They put 2 crates up and they put me in front of the mic and I shared how I felt. And later my grandmother said, "You're to be a speaker. Wow. People need to hear your story.
Right.
You will go through things in life, but you have to share it. You can't keep it to yourself." And then she used to make us, as a family, we had to sit down and listen to Les Brown. So he became a mentor in my mind since I was a little girl. It's not something like I just found out about him. This has been, I would watch him when he would come to Manhattan, if he was at City College, wherever. I was just constantly absorbing.
Right.
So her planting the seed, my grandfather planting the seed, telling me who I was when I didn't know it.
Right.
And who knew that when I was going through traumas and tribulations and challenges, I had that in me.
Yeah.
So that confidence isn't something that we find. They always say, "Oh, you look for your power, look for your confidence." Your confidence is in there.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you have children, you have to say, "Don't touch the fire."
Exactly.
Right? But they have that creativity. They have that curiosity. They're going to touch it.
Yep.
Don't jump off those stairs. They're going to go to the top or the 3rd floor, and third step, and they're going to jump because they have confidence that they can do it.
Yes.
But somewhere along the line, we start slowly dimming their light, telling them what they can't do.
Right.
You can't do this. You have to act a certain way. You have to do it a certain way.
Right.
And so listening to my grandparents helped. But then I had my parents who were not supportive, and so but they were my parents. So you want to please them, and I wanted them to love on me, and they didn't do that. They didn't know how, but my grandparents did.
Right.
So instead of focusing on what my parents couldn't give me, I focused on what I had in front of me, and that was the love of my grandparents, and they were examples of that.
Well,
just look. Back in those days, just from you having to stand in those milk crates, because I can imagine that, right?
How you balance that, for one.
Well, look, if y'all didn't know, she is about 6'2". I'm lying so bad. Let's take that to 4'2". But back then, she had to be 2'2", so that I knew that they had to get crates for her to get up there. But yet again, in those days, we were pushed to do better.
Right.
We were pushed out of our comfort zones because we knew that we need that next speaker. We need a next person that's going to go out there and confidently show a direction that people can follow. So things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But nowadays, we've been losing that. And we were talking about this earlier in the kitchen. Our drive has to show our want. I don't know, does that make sense? Our drive has to show our want.
Like what motivates you?
Yeah, motivate, but also just for the presence of other people's vision. Now, let's go back to 40s and 50s and 60s, right?
I'm sorry, I wasn't alive during that time.
Yeah, I know, but I've researched it so much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank God for books.
Yeah, thank God for books. Right? So back then, and people that I've talked to, because you still have people that were alive back then.
Yeah.
You know, so just the presence of who we were. Because at one time we had an image of we were less than nothing, even back then. But we never portrayed that. We were very tight-knit.
Right.
We took pride in just going to vote.
Right. And they had leaders.
Yes, we had strong leaders. And we just took pride in so much, man. It was like just being in our skin, we would say, yeah, you know what? You have a stereotypical idea of who you think I am or who you think I'm supposed to be.
Right.
But as you can see, that's not true. That's not true. And I have a problem with that because nowadays we take pride in other people's problems, right? And we've forgotten about ourselves to be prideful together. There's so many things that distract us from the one thing that we know we can't change. You know what I mean? So that's what I would like to see again. Because look at the type of people it produces, man.
Right. But if she didn't have her grandparents
exactly
to instill that,
that's what I'm saying.
Because I think sometimes our parents, of course, they're from a different generation than our grandparents, naturally. And they might be, some parents might come from a place of love, but it's fear also. They want you to take the safe route. You know, they don't want you to endure. You know, like I had a conversation with my daughter's mother, you know, today about the fact that we need to begin to kind of let her live. And she's 22 now, you know, but if we continue to shield her and shelter her, you know, we got to gradually let her stand on her own too. But it's some of it is out of fear that we don't want you to go through what we went through.
Facts.
So, you know, I'm gonna kind of coddle you, even though I'm not necessarily doing you a service by doing that. Whereas, you know, the grandparents, which were from a different era, they the ones that had to fight to vote. You know what I mean? They had to fight for what it is that they want. So you had to get into good trouble. You know what I mean? In order to make progress.
I like how you put that.
You know what I mean?
You said the good trouble.
Good trouble. You know. So I just think it's from depending on what generation. You know what your parents have endured. You know, so I don't think I would hope that it doesn't come from a place of malice, you know, but different people are different.
Yeah, you know, people are people, and what we have to realize that we can't spend so much time looking at, oh my gosh, once we're an adult, my parents didn't do this, my parents didn't do that, or my parents did it this way, so I turned out okay. Because that's one thing my mother said. So y'all don't send in letters and writing and upset. But this is what my mother said to me. Because I asked her one time, Mom, after I was an adult, of course, why didn't you protect me? What is it about me that you dislike so much?
Right.
That you weren't able to love on me. And of course, she always played the victim. And I love my mother, and my mother's not here, but it's just factual. I'm not tearing her down in any way. And she said, you know what? Whatever you went through made you stronger. And you know what I said? I had never asked to be that strong. That was my response. So, yes, we can say it's because of what we went through. My sons, my daughter, we had the conversation a few months ago, and it's like cervical cancer brought us even closer together, right? And now that they have children, I'm like, excuse me, what did you just say to them? Nothing, Mom, nothing. They're repeating, right? So, but it was something positive, but that role modeling is what's so important.
Yes.
And they told me, my son was like, I got to get in here and get to these baseboards. Get to what? I said, did I make you clean baseboards? He's like, Ma, don't play. You had us cleaning the baseboards. You didn't care if it was male, female. We all had to do the same work.
Right.
And he says, we thought you were so mean to us. Now, I was loving to them, but their friends would come over. Oh, can they come out to play? Absolutely not. They didn't clean their room.
Right.
Do you know their friends would come in and they would help them clean their room so that they could, because the kids wanted to be at my house. Meanwhile, I was a tough one.
Yeah.
But what it did, I knew for my children, which I couldn't tell them at the time, they wouldn't understand. When you get out in the street, that coddling is no good.
Yeah, it's unforgiving out there.
You have to have the strategies, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what I was thinking long term. Now, there are mistakes I made, things I wish I had done better. And I said it gives you an opportunity with your children to make those changes.
Yeah.
But there's some things that are going to stay the same because we're all human.
Yes.
And they were like, but Mom, thank you for that.
Yeah. That structure. Structure. That's very important.
Yeah.
Because this world is unforgiving. And, I got 5 girls.
Yeah.
So
we're going to pray for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got 3. I need a little prayer, too.
God gave me 1 because he knew that I don't look good in jail. So he'll give me 1.
Look.
I love her to death.
Miss Lisa
Every day
Thomas.
I struggle.
Miss Lisa Thomas, that's the NAACP president. She says congratulations.
Thank you so
And
much.
Francis Bennett says good evening. Hey, good evening,
Good
Francis.
evening.
Good evening.
Thank you guys for viewing tonight.
Oh yes.
All right, we have my cousin Travis Michelle.
Oh my gosh, it's Travis Michelle. Get it right.
He gonna make you frick.
It's my
by the end
brand.
of the
Don't be
night.
messing with my
He gonna make you
brand.
frick by the end of the
Right?
night.
Look, she writes. She's an author. She wrote "Boss Up with Confidence," and we were having a discussion about how she bossed up with confidence, and she's done it in a big way. A lot of people, they ask for things in life, and then when it comes to the point of where you're going to receive it, we start giving up.
Right.
And everyone's guilty of that because
Absolutely.
a lot of times, people say, "Oh, God won't put more on you than you can bear." Hey, people nowadays, hey man, I know I asked for that, daddy, but it's just everything. I gotta go through all this, So she went through it and she bossed up with confidence, and I'm pretty sure she's shown probably more than thousands of people, if not more, on how to boss up with confidence. And I think that's great. So that's where we're at on the show, guys.
And speaking of, encouraging people to boss up with confidence, how do you manage to handle that aspect of dealing with people, but then also be able to be a divorce strategist? like how does that correlate? I'm interested.
Ooh, put it out there.
Hey,
Wow, let's go.
curious minds need to know.
And thank you. And one thing I will say as a divorce strategist, whether it's through marriage or you've been in a long-term relationship, right? You still accumulated children, house, dog, cat, all that, right?
Right.
I come from it, or I approach it the way I felt when I had my first divorce and I was 9 years old. Because my parents decided to get a divorce. And when my parents decided to get a divorce, my grandparents went through it. Their employers, because they were an employee where they worked, they went through it. The church went through it. Whoever was touched by it. But me as a little girl, I laid in my bed at 9 years old crying. They're saying that they're out there, they love me, but they're showing me that I don't matter. And I said, one day, I want to help or teach or show parents that they need to love on their kids still when they're going through a divorce. Now, I didn't know what that meant, but at 9 years old, that's how I felt. My feelings were so raw. So again, this during the COVID and stuff, and it came back to me. And in the meantime, I went through my own divorce, and I had to put that into place. I said, I don't want my children to ever feel that I don't love them. I have to do whatever it takes. It's not healthy to stay. He was an excellent dad. He just wasn't a good husband anymore. I'm not going to keep them from him, right? I need a break too. And good, better, and different, they need to have that relationship because it's safe being with him, with their dad. And that's what I did. And then I had my grandmother beside me because the hardest thing was my grandparents were married for 100,000 years, right? And I had to go and say, I'm getting a divorce. I was ashamed.
Yeah, that had to have been tough.
And I was in church. We both went to church. Our children was in the church. People divided on us.
Right.
Folks that I knew me first, they went on his side. It was, and my grandma said, baby, you tried your best. And now it's time. That freed me up. They could say whatever they wanted about me because my grandma said that I'm doing the right thing and she supported me.
Right.
So as a divorce strategist, I approach it from a healing perspective, not from, yes. I also, prior to being an RN, when I was single mom, I was out there as a paralegal, started out in the word processing room.
Okay.
And then moved up to secretary, then worked for partners, and then they saw my talent, and I was training to, as a paralegal. So I said, yes, you do need to know how to vet an attorney.
Right.
You do know how to co-parent and have the effective communication, right? But in the same token, you need to make yourself a priority. You need to start healing. That healing doesn't happen at the end. That's what we think. after the divorce, hey, I'm have that party, but you busted and disgusted looking, right? Yeah. Because you haven't done any work. And when you're working with me, look, you can sit and vent. I give you like 2 to 3 minutes to vent on your soon-to-be spouse. After that, it's done. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
How are you going to get through this process? What do you have in place? Let's set up a strategic plan. And it's so funny. I thought I'd be working with women. It's men who work with me. And I was like, y'all want to work with me? Why? And they said, because you don't take sides.
Yeah.
Because I said, I wasn't there, so you can tell me your side, unless it's violent. Then I don't work with those clients. But I said, I don't know what you said out the corner of your mouth. I don't know what she said out the corner of her mouth, or whether it's same sex or whatever. I don't know what y'all said. Right. So I'm not here to deal with that. Do you want to move on? Because this is a small blip in your life.
Right.
How are we going to do that? And let's do it strategically. And my client gave me permission to just share without telling his name. He came to me and we were on Clubhouse. And he would let me come on because during the COVID, man, Clubhouse was on and popping. They taught us how to be mods. I was in the rooms. I mean, we did 24-hour rooms. It was a family. And he would have me come on and speak about divorce and stuff. He had me do it because I was a good mod. He thought I was full of crap. He really thought the divorce strategy is full of crap. 3 years later, last year, in Key West, enjoying my best life with my family, celebrating my birthday, celebrating getting through chemo and radiation. And he calls and he says, are you still doing that? And I was like, doing what? Divorce strategist. And I almost said no. And I said, yes. He says, well, I need your help. And that's when he says, I'm sorry, I thought you were full of crap, but I really need you now. And so from that July until April, we were able to work together, and it was tough, but I helped him with changing his mindset, shifting it. Stop blaming it on her. Yeah. You played a role too. Yeah. And he wanted to throw his hands up and give up his custody of his children completely. And I said, well, I'm just going to ask you a question. Tell me what you'd say to your daughter and your son when they say, Daddy, we weren't worth fighting for. Daddy, you said you loved us, but you didn't really love us. And he was dead silent. He's like, you don't play fair. I said, I just want you to think about that. If you can handle that, then that's what you need to do.
Yeah, those are real questions.
I need to say something then. We're family, and I didn't get an invite to go to Key West. So I heard everything she said. But I don't remember the email that said, hey, cuz, I ain't seen your country behind in a minute. I'm sending you an invite because I be cancer. I'm a divorce strategist. I ain't getting none of that, bro. Like, I was sitting there listening, and I got triggered. Like,
you got triggered?
I got big triggered. I was like, wait a minute. Like, we meeting now, and we cool. Like, it's cool. But I don't remember even getting the invite, so I could say no. I couldn't even get the chance to say no.
Look, maybe she ain't had your number at the time. I don't know.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Okay. Whatever. Thank you I appreciate that story. And if I got off base, I have to say my feelings, y'all. Like, I really felt triggered. And
oh my gosh.
I don't know if that was fair. Like, but I'm glad to meet you now.
Good. I'm glad you are. But this is the first time. How long have you had your podcast?
I think we just hit our first year.
Wow. And this is my first time on here?
Yeah. Oh, this your first time visiting here?
No.
You just told us.
I said when I was a little kid.
You were a little girl.
Shots
so
fired.
it's not my first time.
This is your second time.
It's not my first time. No, we used to have to pass through here to go to Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, but you never stopped through.
Well, you weren't around.
No, I was always around.
95 ain't far away.
Yeah, right.
95 right up the street.
No, we came to Midway.
Oh, yeah, I was in Midway.
Oh,
yeah,
they drove through here, bro.
No, we stopped.
Wow. Who did you stop at? You stopped
my grandparents. Mm-hmm.
You stopped at my mama's?
Actually did, yeah.
Y'all did? You didn't even ask about me. Anyways, now with Boss Up with Confidence.
You weren't born yet.
Oh, dang. Wait a minute. I wasn't born yet.
See, you got to check your facts. He didn't do fact check. He It's fake news now. So everything else is fake.
Wait a minute.
Everything else uncredible.
You the same age?
Incredible.
If you don't mind, can you give us an estimate?
Of my age?
Yes.
I don't have to give an estimate. I'm 61.
What? Nah.
She what?
I need to see ID.
Bro,
I'm not a believer.
61?
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I know this is not fake news. She's saying that she's 61, so she's a vampire. Let's just go ahead and admit it. She's a vampire, and it's cool. Just let me know what I need to do to become one of the vampires like you. It's cool. I'm not even gonna tell nobody else besides the people that's watching here. Because there's no way that you are 61 years. Are you 61 for real?
No, honestly, yeah.
Honestly.
1963.
And she did the math real quick.
In her head. I saw that. I saw that connection. She looked up to the left.
Now, why would I make myself older?
No, I get you.
Why would I make myself older?
What?
That doesn't make sense.
I got a booger in my nose.
No.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, my bad.
No.
Okay.
He's getting in his feelings.
Right.
He's all thrown off.
He all triggered.
He made a hand signal.
Excuse me, can I please say to the audience that I know that you're used to King being very reserved and all together,
Yes,
but
I still am.
cracked him.
Right.
I'm just saying I
He's
cracked him.
flustered.
King
kind of flustered right
What
now.
did she crack? We're looking at a 61-year-old woman that looks like she's
vampire.
30. Yeah. I told y'all she's a vampire. Don't worry about it. Wait till she's supposed to be 70 and all of us are looking like some brooms.
Exactly.
And she over there, it's me.
She just looking the
What's up
same.
with confidence?
She looking the same
I
like
wrote
it was
that
yesterday.
book back in 53. like, no, man. Look, even my son says she do not look 61. That's your cousin now. That's Look, Doral said, wow, good genes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's unbelievable. So hold on, let's switch. What do you eat? Like Jesus juice? Like what are you eating, man?
You know, yeah. People do ask me about my skin cares and systems. And honestly, it changes. But originally, my grandmother, because cousin Dorothy, she's like, oh, yeah. Because, Alice was a real glam queen. Because she was always together. Like, you never saw her looking a mess. That's my grandmother.
Okay.
And to the point that at one point, you had to come in the house to put oil in the tank. And they would wait, because she had to make sure her makeup was on, everything, her wig set, before she would even open the door. And they would patiently wait for her. So as from a little girl, she taught me skincare, the importance of it. And everyone thinks that it's some magical thing, but we started out, it was straight up Vaseline. You took your makeup off of Vaseline, then you would cleanse your face. And back in the day, y'all, it was ivory soap. Ivory soap a little tough.
Ivory soap was very tough.
Ivory soap?
It's a little tough.
Yeah.
It was tough, it floated.
Didn't it come from like animal fat?
No,
I think it came from animal fat.
Animal fat was much softer.
Yeah, bro, they made that from pumice. That joke used to float in the tub with that big ivory print in it.
It used to
turning all the water white, and you just like, man, it smell like the hospital in here.
But that's what we started with.
Yeah.
And then, she then incorporated, she loved fashion fair. So, you had to have your toner. There was a way to apply your makeup. To just do your skin, your toners and your moisturizers. And so I learned to do that. And then you had to eat a certain way, because, we Geechee Gullah, which I just realized it's taken me forever. That's why we were eating grits, collard greens, and rice every day. And, so even during my pregnancies, my grandma made collard greens, and I had to drink the broth.
Yes, that's very good.
And then you have to, we knew about exfoliating our skin long before they came out with this stuff now.
Right.
So that's what I did, and the importance of drinking water and of getting rest. But during my cervical cancer fight, my skin was jacked.
I could imagine because of the chemo and stuff, right?
Oh my! And radiation.
Right.
It was. I thought it was never coming back. I cried. I snotted. But you know what I did? I continued my routine.
Right.
I continued with my moisturizing. Everything that they were like, how come it's not burning your skin? And I'm like, yeah, but it's doing everything else.
Right.
So it's come back, and it's funny that a breast cancer survivor saw me, and she said, girl, my skin hasn't come back. What are you doing? And part of it is good genes, because y'all have some good genes. No.
Thank you.
The Accents, the Dryers, Spencers, they have very good genes. The skin is beautiful. So some of it may be genetic, but other parts of it, I never drank. I didn't smoke. I just didn't do a lot of those things, and because I didn't want to. Right? And I'm not saying for those who do it that you can't accomplish it.
She's telling y'all right. That's why y'all ain't fine.
I'm telling you about me.
Right.
And do I eat right all the time? No. I'm starting to eat cleaner again, because at one point I couldn't eat any food. And everything tasted nasty. And now I'm binging sometimes on things I shouldn't eat. But for the most part, I am trying to eat clean. So I'm trying to do the fish. My doctor, who is an Indian doctor, and she says, stop with the salad. And I was like, what? We got to have salad. And she's like, no. What I want you to have is yellow lentils.
Okay.
Yeah, and continue your collard greens.
What's the significance of the yellow lentils?
She says it has more protein and nutrients in it.
Okay.
And she says, so go to the Indian store, because she's Indian. I was like, okay.
I love Indian food.
Yeah. So, it's just moderation. But I think the biggest part, besides my grandparents, it's just the love of God. Like, he gave me grace. And I know he's on my inside, and so that shows outwardly. Even with sometimes when, I act a little crazy. I know. So don't be saying, oh, you ain't perfect. I know that. I know that's what makes me so special.
None of us are. Right.
But it's just, I think, just really honing in on that. And I've never been into my physical appearance, because my father was a model and he worked at FIT. He was with Beverly Johnson and all of them, and he told me that I was ugly. So it was, people look at me, I'm like, I'm okay.
Hey man, hold on. See, that's crazy. Like a couple things that came up, about your mother, and now you talking about your daddy. We gonna have to expound on that real quick. Like, can you explain because your childhood has been a very pivotal part of your life, as I can see. What was it? What happened? Can you give us a brief synopsis on what happened?
I think, again, it goes back to, it really wasn't about me.
Okay.
It was about my mother and father. They were so alike, but they couldn't get along. And that fighting all the time. So what happened? I became the pawn. I also became the whipping girl.
You were only child?
With my father and mom, yes.
Okay.
So I was also that whipping child. And I was in Florida. I remember exactly where I was, laying in my dad had popped through, because that's what he would do. He paid his child support, y'all, and I went to private school and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say that. But he wasn't there to love on me. And when he would pop into town to see me, it was never anything positive. It was always something that my mother said I wasn't doing, and that he would then just get on me about it. Whether I got a 90, I should have had a 95, literally. And I said, Daddy, I know I'm not going to be tall, but I really want to do print work, because he was a model, and he worked at FIT later. And you know what he said? He looked at me. He says, I work with beautiful women from around the world. Black, white, Asian, Indian, everyone. What makes you think that you could model? Now, you see how I emphasize that? Because that's exactly what he said to me that way. And that stuck with me.
And you never forgot that.
You know what?
Never forgot it.
I'm not going to say that every mean thing, because we don't, as men, we do things in a different context, and the delivery's not always well. That might have been a way, because people think models' lives are easy, and that is, but your dad might have known some information and he wanted you to throw. I'm just saying this now, because the older I get, the more I start understanding things that my folks, especially my father, done, and my mother. But sometimes men's deliveries aren't good, because that could have disgusted him, because he knows that life was not a life he might have wanted for his daughter. That was a very terrible way, if that's what he was trying to do.
Oh, you're so
very
kind. Except you didn't know my dad. But you know what? That's taking the high road.
Yes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my father let me know by his actions that I was not important in his life.
Right.
And as an adult, when I asked him, Daddy, why did you abandon me? You only came around every blue moon, but you cared for this other woman and her children, and they don't look like me. And you know what he said? I figured you'd be like your mother. He said, I didn't want to deal with your mother. I mean, he had no problem with it. And this was him in his 70s. Yeah. I waited because I was so afraid. Because, see, my dad, even though he said that to me, he was still my knight in shining armor. I could only see the good things. And I know that upsets parents, whether you're the single mom or you're the single dad.
Yes.
The parent that's not there, that child sometimes idolizes them, right?
Amen.
They don't know the details.
Right.
And then when you're an adult and he said that to me, I was like, oh, you used to pinch my nose, Daddy. Why? Because it's too wide. Because there's so he, I grew up, he would look at you walking, look at your knees. It was never anything positive.
Right.
And except now as an adult, oh, my daughter's a nurse manager at a major hospital, blah, blah, blah. And I was also involved politically in my neighborhood, and the borough president recognized me as the youngest Black president.
Nice.
Which is former Mayor David Dinkins. He did that in Queens. Oh, I was his daughter then. See, he's like, wow, you didn't turn out like your mother.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. So, like, that's why when I share those stories, it's not to put them down, but I want somebody else listening knowing that your parents, you can't choose them. Your parents chose you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So you love them, but it doesn't mean you have to accept their abuse. It doesn't mean you have to stay in the line of fire. And you can be factual with it. And those people who love on you, who care about you and your community, you give them that credit. That's why I talk about my children so much. That's why I can mention my friends, Michelle, who's triple negative breast cancer. We worked together at the hospital. And she was going through breast cancer, and I just was kind to her. And as an RN, sometimes people are like, oh, if you're not an RN or a doctor, they want to talk to you a different way. We didn't have the relationship. Girl, how you doing? I follow her on Instagram. And when I got diagnosed, I was like, I don't know anybody to talk to about it. And I contacted her. And the first thing Michelle said, it's Team Travis Michelle right now. I'm here for you. And when I tell you she has been there, so that community, the things that I've gone through, God has always aligned me with people who would be there. Because when my grandma passed, that was my rock. I was like, I'm out here, and as my daughter would say, I'm up in the air, I had nothing, no one. But I can talk about my grandparents. So they're still here.
Yes.
And I speak again on Michelle because as a Black woman, and I'm an RN, and you would think I would know how to go and research and do all of that and still can't find anybody who looks like me. And now all of those thoughts start coming back. When I'm saying this, meaning for a little girl, those little thoughts come in. You're not good enough. You're not pretty. What did you do to deserve this? Because this is what my parents said to me, and I had to squash them.
Yeah.
Those thoughts again. And she's like, come on, let's go. Let's do this. And she's been with me throughout everything. And then when she got diagnosed for the second time, we're rocking out together.
What's triple negative?
It's a type of breast cancer, and it's terminal, as people want to say terminal. But people are living. People have lived for 15 years with it.
Okay.
You know, not everybody is a death sentence. Cancer is no longer a death sentence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So. People don't realize, they're like, oh my gosh, you look great because I fought it, but you don't know the residual. Just like you guys had the Hurricane Helene and Milton. You went and got your bread and your milk. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you got your bread and your milk, right? And your toilet tissue and your paper towels and your batteries.
Right.
You were hunkered down ready. And then you went outside and it was devastation.
Right.
And you have to rebuild. That's how cancer is. You have the supplies, the chemo, the radiation, the chemo, the surgery, all this stuff. And but then it's devastation because you have the residual pain. You have anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
You have these thoughts in your head. Am I going to make it today? How long am I going to live? All of this stuff.
Yeah.
But when I put on, because it's cold in New York, so I got to put on my wig and everything. Y'all don't realize that. Well, I got to take medicine in the morning when I get up.
Okay.
I got to take medicine before I go to bed. I have to make sure that I do certain things in the morning, in the evening, that I have a routine.
Right.
You just see the product.
The outward.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where the confidence comes in, and that's where that resilience and that community.
Yeah.
Because there were days I was like, God, I just don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I gotta say something, because with everything that I'm hearing about your life, like you went through this and you held your head high, and you're a terrific person.
Thank you.
Now, I'm gonna bring it to nowadays. Nowadays, you can hear your story, but it won't even be anything close to it. Because what's happened now is that even if a person had a legitimate story and they're actually going through something, they can do it minuscule now. The other day, I wish I should have got that video. The other day, there was a young girl, and she was upset with her mother, and she was yelling, you don't care about me. Y'all see what she doing? She won't. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And when I found out what was going on, she was upset because her mama didn't buy her the car she wanted. But her mom bought her car. Now look, I was like, nah, this got to be a skit. You know what I'm saying? This can't be real.
And it was a rather expensive vehicle that she bought her.
Yes.
Are we talking about? I think we're talking about the same thing.
Now look at this, because I'm like, this got to be a skit, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, these aren't skit people. This girl is just, what I'm saying? Okay, that eliminated that. This was real.
Yeah.
This girl was upset and saying that her mom was terrible and treats her terrible because she didn't get the car she wanted. But if you would have saw the comments, you should leave, don't ever communicate. I'm like, wait a minute. So look, this is real. This is the product of someone overcoming and taking everything and building herself. You built yourself to this. You built your confidence off of even the negativity. It's like you took that negativity, okay, all right, I'm going to take that on the chin, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And it built you up. So I'm upset with the fact that nowadays that isn't important anymore. It's all about who can gain, from any situation. It's sad because even the parents that are trying to know that you went through that and turned out this way, that tells me a lot, man. It tells me a lot.
Well, that's true, but I do want us to make sure that we give the attention. My cousin's a teacher, and she says you have 80-20. And I know y'all watched Why Did I Get Married, so it's not that 80-20. But anywho, we have the 80-20. And 80% of the classroom is doing well, and they need their help too.
Yes.
But 20% is acting out.
Yep.
Yes.
So who is the teacher giving the attention to? The 20%.
The 20.
Yeah.
So I want us to realize that the words are so important that come out of our mouth. And when we keep saying what we're not seeing and what we can't have, people are hearing that.
Yeah.
I concentrate on those who are doing well.
Right.
and ignore those who aren't, because they're short-lived. Give them their 15 minutes of fame, right? They got it. Keep it moving. Because there are plenty of good people out here.
Right.
Yes.
And it's not about how much money you have, wearing your designer clothing. You know, it's their kindness. It's the fact that I live in New York City and someone passes out on the train tracks, and you think in New York City they probably leave them there, and you have people you don't even know jumping into the train tracks to help everybody lift them up.
You better preach.
Right?
That must be New York.
He said New York.
Brooklyn, New York.
That might be Georgia. She might have been in Georgia and forgot.
Oh, no. David Dinkin era, New York?
No, I'm talking now.
I don't know about that one.
Even now.
You think people are more compassionate in New York now than they were back in the day?
I don't know, because I don't have anything to gauge that on. But what I do know is that, and I like to give credit to a little bit to millennials. Yes, they're more privileged, right? People want to say, "Oh my gosh, they're so privileged." They
millennials
just,
are 80 babies. Go ahead.
They are, and the Zs, but they're more aware and they're able to use their voice.
Yeah.
So they're getting together. Because, for instance, before I left, there was a group of students that are meeting, I forget which park, so I don't want to lie, in New York, where they don't bring their phones. Nobody told them to do this.
Wow.
So you see how that 80% is doing, but we want to talk about the 20?
20, yeah.
And they said they get together and they have to talk to each other.
Right.
They realize the value of it. And as adults, we're sitting here talking about, they on, that phone. Excuse me, I think I saw a senior mother over there about 85, and she couldn't get around without her phone in her hand. In fact, she has her walker and the phone at the same. So it's we have to remember going back to our roots, our foundation, and that's kindness.
Right.
And people are, with everything going on, all this noise, you still have to listen into your heart and have those people. And people are getting tired. That mental health is it's important.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't doing it. I talked it, and I slid off. And, of course, my daughter, Ma, too much. You're doing too much now. This is what you need to do. And then she goes, okay, how much longer do you think you're going to do this? You see what I mean? But I needed that, oh my goodness, that on the head, right?
Right.
But it was with love, but it had to be forceful. But it was still kind.
Yes.
So I just concentrate more on the kindness, because I can't fill my time with, what you ain't doing, what you did. Because I have people in my life who mean so much to me, whether they meant something to me for a little while or for a long time, but they were there for a season, but they were there for a reason. I am responsible for me.
Yeah.
I can only change me. But if I'm kind, maybe I'll pay that off. My son spent, Khalid, 6 months of his life taking care of me. 3 months twice. Went back to Florida, to Miami, then came back again when I had to have major surgery. And he didn't have to do that. He's young. Right. He's in his 30s. Like, come on, people aren't coming to do that for you.
That's dedication.
But that was his kindness from his heart.
Right.
So when I was taking care of my auntie, 81, and she has dementia now, we were laughing on the phone last night. I said, well, I guess, you know what? You paid it forward, and now I'm paying it so that I can pay it forward. Look at that. Full circle. And we can always talk about what people aren't doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I already see you ain't doing nothing. So what else do I need to say? Why do I have to give you any more attention?
Right. Right.
Moving on.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Right. You're right. It's amazing to me, man. It's like sometimes I'll be worried about the world. I'm for real. Especially with
it give you enough to worry about.
They really do.
Especially what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
If you want to focus on what's wrong, you're gonna find it.
Yeah. And it might not be what you need to find all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll make the situation worse, because you'll start hearing so many other people's perspectives of, well, this is what it is. Like,
and your phone listens to you, so then you're gonna get your ads, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Them algorithms see see, oh, this is what you want? We're going to give you more of it.
Yep.
Whether it's good or bad, we're going to give you more of it. Yep.
We got to start paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring this in real quick. Even with this whole election, right? This thing that's going down tonight has divided us so much because I guess we can't get over ourselves. Like, of any time, we still need to unite. We're disowning each other because everybody has their own mind. And that's not good, y'all. Because I'm looking at other people in other cultures, and it's not dividing them to a point to where they don't want to invite somebody over for Thanksgiving dinner anymore. And it's getting real worrisome because, like, where are we headed? If we can't agree to disagree and go out and have dinner afterwards, what type of people are we? Because let me tell you something, on both sides of this campaign, these people that you don't know that are famous and everything, look, they don't know you. Like, they're not going to be like, hey, man, I'm glad you're not talking to your cousin because they don't believe like us. Like, you'll never see them come to your door and knock on your door. None of them. So, regardless, we need to unite, period. Whichever way it goes. That doesn't change our local communities. It doesn't change that. It don't change the fact that you're my brother. It don't change the fact that you're my family. It doesn't. So, y'all remember that also. Because right here at this table, we have people telling you about their life, their accomplishments, to how far they've come. If y'all even knew the reason she was here, y'all would be like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So, y'all remember that. I had to say that, bro. But, yeah, I knew you were about to ask a question, though. Go ahead.
Look, I was lost in what you were saying, so I don't remember my question.
I don't know, but he put these glasses on now, so it must be serious. So let me make sure my head's on right. My hair looking good, because he's coming for something.
You good. Good. Look, somebody said, Johnson LeBron said, we're our own enemies. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dorothy Mosley, hey, mama, said, good information. Senior Barrett, 380. Shouts out to you, 380.
What up, 3?
He said, powerful message. You got people all in the chat talking about, oh, good interview. Oh, my God, we age well. She doesn't look 61. Like, yeah, and that's another thing, y'all. This she is 61 years old. 61. And y'all really don't even understand it. And she's had a battle
I
with
told
cancer.
you what they say before, black don't crack unless you smoke it.
Yeah, right.
And look, and I done seen people bounce back from that.
Yeah, right. Right? I done seen some crackheads. You be like,
hold on, you smoke
Janice? Janice, that's you?
Right?
Like, dang.
That's the truth.
Like, real talk. Look, and I know, look, no offense, but I know some people that are Caucasian is like, this is not fair. When I was on dope, I still look like this, and I remember that lady. We was in the houses together, and she's looking like she done took off 30 years. This ain't fair. It's that dang on cocoa butter. It's the cocoa butter and that Dr. Sebi.
Vaseline.
And that Dr. Sebi.
Vaseline. Vaseline is the cure-all. You get a cut, Vaseline.
Petroleum jelly. Look, petroleum jelly. There's a secret to that. Look, the guy that discovered the use of petroleum jelly believed that it was so magical, right? He got sick. And he told his staff to cover him in petroleum jelly. He did that for, I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks straight. Good as new. Bro.
What he was sick with? He had ashy skin or something?
No. It wasn't no ashy. He was really, really sick. See, there's things that, it's so many simple things that we can do for our bodies that we don't do anymore because we've hired folks to go learn it for us, right?
Yeah.
And we forget about the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like people from the islands, especially Jamaica and the Caribbeans, they keep telling us about the sour sop. Yeah. You need to drink sour sop. You drink the sour sop. And you know that plant is not really available in the United States like that. And it's a trip because even some of the seeds.
I don't know. Have you been to New York City? Because you can get plenty of soursop.
Exactly.
Soursop soup. What's
you
up?
get whatever you want in New York.
I'm telling you,
whatever.
Here,
good or bad.
I bet. But see, those markets might be good because they can carry stuff. It's not like they got a police that just go around checking the plants, but a lot of this healthy stuff that we are not putting in our bodies anymore.
Yeah.
We really need. Like Roundup makes weed killer.
Yeah.
And they own Bayer and the pharmaceutical companies. But dandelions, which is a weed, mullein, which is a weed, all of these things heals the body.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they make the heart medicine, right? And dandelions is the best thing to take for your heart.
And your liver.
And yes. And you mean to tell me they make the product to destroy the weeds? We had our resources, but they taught us to destroy it because of greed.
Yeah, they know what works. They just synthesize it.
Yes.
And sell it.
Yeah.
You know?
And the ants are right there growing it. We're like, oh, it makes my garden look bad. Well, you better cut it down and put it in the pot and prepare it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like my cousin said, I had this bush and it was a weed. And I was like, but I can't do Roundup or anything. Because my family, moved from here to Tampa. She's like, girl, stop acting brand new. I know you a New Yorker. You better go boil a pot of hot water. Be careful walking outside, don't trip, and pour it on that root. Yes. When I tell you that's a natural remedy, and it died. That's how you kill your weeds.
It's hot water.
Hot water.
Boiling hot water.
Yeah.
And it will kill your weeds. And that's what I did. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot. Because we were taught these things, and then we forget because we want to assimilate and we want things easier.
Right.
Why do I want to do all of that work when I can just go down the block and like eating out? We used to cook our foods at home. Now you have to make sure that your lettuce is real lettuce. And it's not even nutritious because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat salads. And meanwhile, my doctor is like, no, leave. She says, I used to do that too. Leave lettuce alone.
Yeah, no nutrition.
Like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like corn, no nutritional value.
Yeah, chicken might not even be real chicken. It might be clone chicken.
And they don't have to tell you anymore.
Nope, they ain't got to tell you nothing. That's crazy.
That's where, we have to, and I'm not going to sit here and say that everything I do is clean, and I try to, although my makeup is, because my daughter called me in a panic. Mom. What makeup do you have? I told her all my little makeup and stuff. She said, throw it all out. I was like, girl, this is hundreds of dollars. What's wrong with you?
Hold on, you go, well, how much you go? They got rebates?
Right? And she's like, Ma, because she's so concerned because now, all of my children are because of my fighting cancer. So she's like, look, you can't. You have to use clean, So I did.
Yeah.
But that, it takes money. It takes time. So we say we want, yes, in order to be healthy, it's more expensive to eat healthy than it is to just go run to a corner and get something from the store. And I don't want to give any store any credit because they're not paying us on here.
Right.
But you see what I mean? So we have to say, I don't mind being in the kitchen. You have air fryers now, y'all. Stop acting like you can't cook. You have to turn the oven on and put it in that.
Yeah.
And you can meal prep it.
Right.
Like, come on. There are things, and I'm speaking to myself too, because it's like I want the quick and dirty. And now I'm like, oh yeah, well maybe I'll do that, and I can put it in the air fryer so it is faster. I don't do the rice cooker, y'all, so don't talk about me because I do not use a rice cooker. I know how to cook rice in a pot. And my rice stands up. Okay, I'm Geechee Go.
Nice.
Man, y'all believe that if you want to. She can't. She too short to reach the stove.
Hey,
you ain't getting me with that one.
AI taught me how to cook rice.
Listen.
I am not ashamed to say it.
I'm gonna give my brother
I looked it up
flowers.
on ChatGPT.
All right.
And my rice was fluffy. I couldn't make rice in a rice cooker. I was that bad. Really, to be honest, he's not really gummy.
a cook like that. He follow recipes. He's not really a cook like that.
No, I'm not a cook.
No.
But I know how to read and I follow instructions.
That's okay.
Attention to detail.
Exactly. If that thing says put 2 tablespoons of salt. He is going to measure like.
And I'm gonna use the good salt too. I'm gonna use Celtic salt.
You Celtic in there. I'm talking about. Yep, I'm gonna put that in there. That's what it say. What do I do next? Mix
He
the
can
bowl.
follow instructions.
Exactly.
Ladies, this is a man who can follow instructions. He's not available, but this is a man who can follow instructions.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Trying to get him choked out.
Exactly. Kamaria, watch it.
What? Excuse me.
But you know, I'm
No,
saying
ladies. No.
but it's so important that we manage up and we uplift our kings.
Yes.
Because we can talk about everything you don't do,
Don't make me cry.
right?
Yeah.
But we have to talk about what you do.
Right.
Like you heard me say, and I'm proud, my son is a single dad. He fought for his son. He fought for his baby. Right? And there's so many men like that. But as women, we think just because we're a woman, and some of y'all gonna get on me, and I'm good. Come for me. I fought cancer. I got you.
Hello.
But that just because we're the mom, we're the best person. My mother wasn't the best person.
Right.
So when I talk about it, it's because I know about it.
Yeah.
It's about who is the best person.
Yes.
Wow.
And maybe right now, you have to give a little. And that's the other thing, circling back to divorce, what I say to people, what are you willing to give up? Because me, we had settled up with the children. It was this one farmhouse table from Fortune off in New York, marble top, green with the green chairs. It was beautiful.
Set it off.
And I did not want to give that up in the divorce. It took me 3 years and 3 attorneys.
Wow.
Finally, one day, I said, if I give you that table, will you sign the divorce papers? And we were in front of the attorneys. And he said, he thought, because he knew how much it meant to me, because my grandma helped me pick it out and everything. And he says, yeah, I'll sign it right now if that's what you... And I said, you know what? You can have it. See, I was ready.
Yeah.
I was ready. I was just wanted to fight before it.
Right.
It came to a point, I said, what am I willing to give up?
Right.
My mental health is worth more than this. I can't...
Yes.
I have to show my children conflict resolution. I am, but behind the doors here in the with the attorneys, I'm fighting tooth and nail.
Right.
What am I willing to give up in order to live so I don't have to be busted and disgusted?
Right.
And he signed it. That's all I had to do.
3 years. Fight.
3 attorneys.
3 attorneys.
In 3 years. And sitting in court, and the judge in family court looked at me, because my ex-husband is a lot older than me. He says, you're probably the reason for the divorce. He says, because he's an older man. He knows better. He's been around. You're probably the one out there doing wrong things. That's what he said, to humiliate me.
Wow.
So
But you do look 20. I'm just...
At the time, I looked
The judge was
15.
like, you shouldn't have been with that old man.
That old geezer.
That old geezer. And it's like, Judge, I'm 61. All you black people. It's that cocoa butter.
But, that could have destroyed me.
Yeah.
Right? And this doesn't happen just to women. It happens to men
Right.
as well. A man wants to do well. He's paying and doing. And all of a sudden, oh, you got a woman in your life? Oh, no. You can't. I don't want my kid around them. Now,
Yes.
I understand it. I didn't. But I knew I couldn't control that. So I made sure I had my daughter's hair cornrow before she left.
Right.
So that she wouldn't be looking crazy, or that other chick wouldn't be doing that. I mean, these are real things.
Countering the things you knew that would trigger you.
Right. And it wasn't easy,
Right.
but I had to make a conscious decision. And that's really what it's about. Bossing up, being resilient, moving forward in your life, making that conscious decision to make yourself a priority and stop saying it's selfish, because you are. No. If you can, for instance, I'm no longer pouring from my cup. Right? My cup it's about 3/4 full now. I'm still working on filling it. I'm pouring. You're getting my overflow. I'm not even turning, you turn I'm not even doing that anymore.
Right.
Once it spills over, you got that. Come through.
Right.
But until that time, no, dog, I can't help you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Makes
And if
a
you
lot
want
of
to
sense.
call it selfish, fine. Because I'm going to look good for 61, and you keep on looking like you
that's for sure.
busted and disgusted.
Hey,
How about that?
Right.
Brother, can you hand me that at the end of the table, please?
Uh-oh.
So
Got the tiara.
Look, Queen, rare occurrence, but today I am going to crown my cousin.
Well deserved.
So I would like to, can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we crown cousin Travis Michelle as a queen on Black Kings.
I second that, and I would like to present you with this crown so that they know that this is a queen on the show that sits with kings. And this is not an honor that everybody gonna get. So when you come on the show, don't be feeling offended. There's only one other queen. Well, no, I'm sorry, it's two others. You have Nita, you have Janice Baker, 3. I'm sorry, and Miss Rear Admiral Annie Andrews.
Annie Andrews.
Yes, Rear Admiral Annie Andrews. So we present you, if you would, for what's please, Queen. I'm not trying to mess up your hair. Y'all don't. Oh,
let's see, man. You just place it. Just place it there. You gotta place it.
I'm trying, bro. All right, there we go. Now put the headphones on top of that.
There you go.
Yeah, we good now. We good. There we go.
Thank you.
Look. So, round of applause.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen. And for being short notice, I just want to say that this was a delightful discussion. This needs to happen. Being able to connect with people just to connect, just like that. Not being scared of networking.
Right.
Being confident, bossing up your confidence. And that is what you did today. So to you, Queen, much respect.
Right.
Thank you so much. And I'm very gracious. I'm very grateful. And I purposely don't say humbled because my grandma taught me you only humble yourself to God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I am so grateful, and I don't take it lightly. And this is what it's about. It's not about me. It's really being able to share my story, to give God glory, to help other people. And we don't have to beat them over the head about the scriptures and all of that. But I am that testimony I had to go through. I mean, the journey was so that I could share my testimony. So I do appreciate it. And if I could do my outro when it's ready, let me do that.
Oh, we're about to. Oh, she already know we do outros, right? So we do outros. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna let King Boston go first because
I don't think I want to follow.
Queen that's exactly why
outro.
I did that because I was like, oh, she about to embarrass us tonight.
Right.
Well,
I throw the alley-oop.
Duck it. Hey, but King, please tell the kings and queens out there something motivational that you want to just tell the people.
I mean, honestly, my motivation is that I'm motivated from listening to your testimony. All that, matter of fact, prior to us going on air, I made the comment, as we were just talking, like you never know what someone has been through. Mm-hmm. And, just to hear your story and all of the trials and experiences that you had to gain your strength to overcome, I'm just honored to be sitting across from you and just listening, because you motivate me. You never know when you're telling your story who you're touching.
Yes.
And what they're going through that you could inspire. Mm-hmm. And that's happening now. And I'm just speaking for myself, not to mention all the people that could be listening to you as well. So,
yes.
I'm definitely honored, that you took time to come here and see family. And look, we family now, know. So that and you from Brooklyn, like when I'm here. I mean, I'm from Brooklyn. You from Queens, but we from New York. We from New York, and just hearing the accent is so calming.
Oh,
she said daughter and water.
Daughter and water. Look at him, man.
I never realized. Growing up in New York, you don't realize you have an accent.
Yeah.
You think everyone else has the accent.
Yes.
You know, but look, like I told you before, I've been living in Georgia about as long as New York.
You're a Georgian now.
And when I'm listening to people, I'm like, oh yeah, you from New York. Like I hear it. But you know, in all honesty, you know, I'm just grateful that we had this chance to interact, and that's what this show is about. You know, seeing what just having grown-up conversation.
Yes.
And seeing what we all going through, and how, like we said, we just gonna vibe and just talk. You know, so I salute you, Queen. I salute all of the people out there who are cancer conquerors, as you so eloquently put. Salute to our brother. I'm not going to disclose his name because I don't know, but he just recently had surgery for prostate cancer, and he's well on his way to recovery. And I just want to encourage everyone out there, make sure you get your checkups. Listen to your body. You know, if you go to the doctor, if something don't feel right, you go to one doctor and it don't sound like they talking right, go to get another opinion and get another opinion until you find some sort of resolve or solution. You know, because it very well could cost you your life and all of your loved ones. You know, I mean, I'm just grateful. So, like I said, I'm just throw the alley. You slam dunk it.
You were real passionate there.
Yes. No, thank you. I really appreciate what you said, and that means I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
Right.
I'm on my assignment, and I don't know who I'm going to touch. And people say, oh, if I could just touch one. No, I'm not here to touch one. I'm here to touch millions, because this person tells someone and it just spreads. First and foremost, you took a little bit of my fire there, because I was going to say you need to get your checkups, right? You need to go ahead. And I need my queens to insist that their kings get their checkups. That means if it means that you have to look up a doctor and then go with them, then you do that. Yes, they're going to complain and whine and everything, but that's fine. And then my kings, I need you to do the same thing for us, because sometimes we're so busy taking care of you and the family that we forget and we don't place ourselves as a priority. For those who are breast cancer conquerors, make sure if your doctor says no, that lump doesn't mean anything, or I think it's just cystic breast, I want you to find another doctor until you have somebody who will listen to you. For my gynecologic cancer conquerors and my previvors, and that means those people who have it in their family but they haven't been affected yet, I need you to go and have your HPV, men and women. Starts at age 9. It cuts off before your 45th year. They extended it by the World Health Organization, and it's preventable because 85%. And you can look this up. I'm not just taking these numbers because I am also a cervical cancer advocate. You're going to come across HPV. So why wouldn't you go ahead and have your child vaccinated early so that by the time they are, going to be in relationships, they already have something, they're fighting it, just like with polio. And it's like the best kept secret. We don't need it to be the best kept secret anymore. Listen to your body. As an RN, I kept pushing. Oh, that's okay. I know what it is. I'm diagnosing myself. Oh, yeah, don't do that. If I didn't have family and friends who say, no, this is what you need to do, a hard stop and go, I wouldn't be sitting before you today because I had advanced cancer, 3B, 3C. And it was already going into my lymph nodes, and I never really talked to my family about it, which means it was ready to spread through my whole body. But God said I shall live and not die.
Amen.
So make sure that you don't get to that point. Use me as an example. It's okay, because you are worth it. And my personal quote is, dream bigger than your thoughts and let your thoughts be bigger than your dreams. Because if you can dream it, you can do it. Regardless, it doesn't have to look like somebody else's dream. You don't have to do it the same way. I told you, I didn't go and have the launch and all the pretty stuff. I just sent a text, said, y'all help me get to #1. I really appreciate it. And that was that. Straight to the point. But then again, I am a New Yorker. But do what works for you and laugh. Laughter is so important. I was so busy just surviving and pushing that I was forgetting to laugh. Yeah. And that also helps you to stay younger. That also helps your serotonin. It helps you feel good and breathe. Instead of telling someone that they're strong, tell them they're resilient. Why? Because when you're resilient, you show up each time. Right. All right, so you may show up, sometimes, I go on Instagram and one eyelash be acting crazy. Y'all know how it is. But I'm showing up.
Right.
I was showing up for my YouTube channel when I had a fever and y'all saw me starting to melt. But I showed up. It doesn't mean you have to show up like that, but show up for yourselves because someone else is watching you. So I just thank you for this opportunity. Guys, I drove from NYC by myself down here. Right. And I was like, I told my family, I am going to meet family while I'm down there. I didn't have a clue. Didn't even have a number. And then I was looking through my phone and said, oh my goodness, let me give them a call. And the second time I called again and I got my cousin and then got my other cousin. And now I'm here.
Right.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Amen.
Okay? So I'm Travis Michelle. Remember that you are anything you say you are. Your words are powerful. Queens lift up kings. Kings lift up queens.
Yes.
Let's do the 80-20 and uplift the 80. Let the 20 go on and do what they're going to do. I'm Travis Michelle, y'all.
Yes.
Too much for some.
Hey.
Not enough for others. But guess what? I'm always just right for me.
That's right.
I'm talking about.
And she's 61. Ain't no way.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, I have this to say. Kings and queens. You've heard an entire story of fact. And it was given to you raw. There was no preparation for this, once again. And boss up your confidence. Like, if that's not a powerful statement to you, I don't know what is. The resilience, as she would say. That's a word that I'm going to have to take into my word bank and start saying. Because kings and queens, we're out here every day. And you have people that deal with depression. And a lot of times other people don't know how to get them out of that state. A lot of it is mental. They might feel like they're lacking here, or the pressures and anxiety of the world is just upon them. And some people get frozen. They don't want to move. And we need to start paying attention, y'all. Because just like tonight, King Boston said, you don't know how much you just helped him tonight, Queen. You never know what he's going through or who he knows. Because he's going to share this message with somebody else. And that message will get through to them, and they'll end up sharing that message with their own message to somebody else. And that thing keeps going. You don't know how far this reaches.
Right.
Because you reaching one person tonight, in a year's time, you might have reached thousands. Just from that message. You know how fast things used to travel when we didn't have social media? I guarantee you that now that she said this and you've said what you said, you're going to see something similar within a few days of just like on the topic that you just talked about. So everybody, kings and queens, don't forget your resilience. Don't forget that while you're going through, that you have people that can give you those messages to help you carry on. So much love to you guys. It's Black Kings Free Game with our queen, and we're out.